Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. Found out GF of 9 years is having an emotional affair and I'm having trouble accepting our relationship might be over. In a very dark place mentally. It's 5:30 a.m. I've been up all night, I'm trembling, and I can't sleep. I just phoned in sick to work. My 24 male, GF, 24 female, has been acting strangely lately and arriving home later than usual from work. I'm on such a tight schedule right now with work and school that I only have an hour together every night before I have to go to bed. So I noticed this and noticed her behavior change to a more depressed and aiming type of state. I attempted to bring it up with her, but she constantly disregarded it as insignificant. I knew there was something wrong, but I couldn't get her to open up to me, and it was killing me on the inside. Fast forward to today, when I'm conducting a late-night grocery run and find her vehicle parked in the middle of nowhere on a random street. I was thinking, whatever, so I pulled over and saw one of her co-workers leap out, who we have had a problem with in the past. He told her that he liked her, but she told me she stopped talking to him. This was a few months ago. She walked off straight away, and when I contacted her to inquire where she was, she of course lied to me. I followed her back to our apartment and confronted her about cheating on me and lying about her whereabouts. She didn't even seem offended at first. All she kept repeating was, "I didn't cheat on you, and we're just friends." After I explained how heartbroken I'm to discover she is most likely cheating on me, going behind my back and lying to me about hanging out with someone we've had a problem with, she began to weep and knew our relationship was most likely gone. She swears they are simply friends, but she has emotions for him, and she is lonely and unhappy since we both relocated to a new place and don't know anybody, and I've been stressed out and not myself, and I'm the only one she spends time with outside of work. When I asked her whether she wanted to continue our relationship, she stared blankly into the abyss for a long time before responding she doesn't know what she wants or if she's happy in our relationship. Hearing this really destroyed me. Like a million razor-sharp glass shards slicing my heart at 1,000,000 miles per hour. I'm at a loss for what to do. I've loved this lady since we began dating in 10th school, and even though we've had our ups and downs, we persisted and achieved a lot together. I'm so taken aback, deceived, and upset that I don't know how to express myself. I'm having a hard time admitting that things are most likely over. Despite the fact that I adore her, I no longer trust her, and, to be honest, I don't believe anything she says. It's ripping me apart psychologically. I can't stay with someone with whom I can't trust or communicate. Yet I can't imagine my life without her. I don't have many friends or family members to confide in, and the prospect of dealing with all of these concerns alone sends me into a tailspin. I know I should go, but I'm not sure I'm bold enough or if I really want to. But I deserve more than the way she treats me. We agreed to attempt to work through these concerns and allow each other some time to reflect before making a choice. She's presently asleep next to me in bed, and I can't help but weep as I write this with my terrible thoughts. Story 2. Wife cheated on me before we were even married with our friend or coworker, and I finally left. B33 male and my STBXW, 31 female, began cheating on each other with her colleague in the summer of 2017, and we married in November of that year. We've been together for 11 years. I'm trying to keep this brief, but it's 3.5 years of nonsense, so bear with me. It's quite a bit. Here's the chain of events that led to the disaster. STBXW begins cheating with her coworker in the summer of 2017, invites him to our wedding in the winter of 2017, but is unable to attend due to work, invites him into our social life. Her immediate family knows AP and AP wife. STBXW tried to make him my friend and have us hang out. Has at work after hours, in the back of his truck, in the car I'm left with, in our apartment, our couch, our bed. Using this puts us in the summer of 2020. In June 2020, AP wife becomes pregnant. That following month, STBXW and I bought a house. STBXW states that in order to save money, app and amateur handyman may assist us with the work we want done on it. She asks whether it's acceptable if they walk ahead by themselves to get a head start. I know him, and more importantly, I trust him at this point. I'd known him for 3.5 years. He's a buddy of mine. I replied all right, but I was still apprehensive about it. They ended up having in every single room of our new house. She had in it before I could even call it home. It's permanently damaged. We've been trying to conceive for a year. STBXW says something to the effect of let me have mine before you get yours one night before having. She stops short of her thinking, but I caught the gist. But there's a catch. That is not an issue for me. I'm not boasting, but I've been with her for 11 years and I've stayed hard even after I've had an. For the last 11 years, she has had 3 to my 1. If we're really into it, I can offer her more. Some guys can't continue after the first, but not me. I let it go, yet it lingered with me. That was my first thought when I awoke. Something snapped, and I went into full X mode. She departed for work, and I ran to her laptop, attempting to read her text messages. If I didn't have access, I searched all of her social media. There is one available. Look through all of a guy's messages, and there you have it. Many quickies, I miss you, I enjoy your arms, they can carry me, sweetheart, are words that will live with me forever. I sent her a snapshot of what I discovered. I was taken aback. Then I had my first panic attack. I contacted my brother and informed him what had happened. She phoned me later, and I went off on her before hanging up. She claims it was physical, claiming she was just flirting the whole time. I was astonished to find STBXW standing there in absolute embarrassment after walking our dogs. She drove home since she assumed I was abandoning her 30 minutes before she showed AP the image and stated his face turned white. Then I requested an explanation. She admitted to having 3.5 years of intercourse with him. When I inquired whether she did on him, she said yes. I realize it's a stupid question, but that's where I went wrong. After I had cooled down, I sat in a chair stunned. She came over and sobbed, apologizing and begged me to forgive her before hugging me. It all spilled out as I held her. That awful, horrible, agonizing, and never-ending anguish continues to haunt me to this day. It engulfed me. I told her she had broken my heart. I'm shattered. I sobbed uncontrollably. A nasty, ugly wail. I didn't eat much for a week. I was too traumatized to consider leaving. I just discovered that my whole marriage and some transformation were a lie. My identity was stolen, which threw my life into disarray. While traumatized, I was too preoccupied with trying to make sense of things. We decided to attempt to reconcile via counseling, both couples and individual. I lasted 2 months before deciding I needed some distance. I left everything to my parents. This was it, I thought. It's all over. I couldn't go fast enough, but I was so proud of myself that I was going to publish this on Reddit to show you guys that I did it. Being apart from her, on the other hand, seemed like severing an emotional limb. It seemed to be self-inflicted. I stayed for 3 weeks and then returned. I was really missing her. That's when I realized that if I decided to leave for good, the consequences would be disastrous. But I'm going to attempt to make amends. We also put off raising a family since. It would be insane to start when we don't know what our future holds. But she has a hard time waiting and knows what I need to go through in order to recover. But she isn't sure how long she can go without having children. The patience she is forced to have is wearing her down. But I understand. There will be a deadline. I told her what I needed from her in order to feel secure. He or she needs to get a new employment. She hardly attempted at first, so I sent a message to AP, knowing he hadn't informed his wife, and that he needed to leave if he wanted to keep it that way. App, on the other hand, informs his pregnant wife. Instead of hearing from him, I receive a call from his father-in-law, who tells me to back off. What? Because they all reside in the same home and intend to move into another. Phil, allegedly, hardly works and watched his money fly away. FIL eventually hands the phone over to AP. The same voice I heard from STBXW, an overpowering AP of humiliation and guilt. I slammed the phone down on him and hang up. So there you have it. She wasn't going anywhere, and neither was he. She didn't want to leave because if I left, what was the purpose of quitting her job? It also has something to do with her family's company. She believes she has a tremendous societal duty to retain it. The red flag. We are attempting to continue the process of reconciliation, but I thought about it many times a day. Daily adversity. Nothing was the same. Holidays, mornings, evenings, kisses, and everyday encounters. Because of the triggers, our house haunts me. My imagination unravels practically every interaction between them and us, and every day is like a minute-y day, yet we keep going. We've reached a standstill as of last week. She doesn't think I want to keep doing this, but my PTSD is so severe that I can barely hold it together. 7 months later, nothing has changed. She goes to her unrelated sisters, and we communicate back and forth. We check in every 3 months to see how I was doing and, more crucially, whether I wanted to have a family. I'm sure I couldn't do it. How can I be there for them if I'm battling with myself? With a kid on the way, we'd both be unhappy. That is not something I deserve. I'd also be troubled by the fact that I don't believe it's even mine. That was one of the reasons I decided to leave. Again, she says she can't wait a year, but hopes I'll be ready before then. So with that in mind, plus the fact that it's 4 months till the D-Day anniversary, and things haven't altered much in over 8 months, and the continued trauma, I decided to go. It was either remain or leave every day, and it was eating at me, as though a bird was plucking out your eyes. It was and still is dreadful. So I'm at a friend's house. Every day since I left, I've been tortured in a new manner. Every bone in my body tells me to return. But I'm unhappy while I'm there. I'm no longer with her, yet I'm still unhappy. But what will happen if I return? Maybe I can adjust and move on, but it will take more than a year. I can sense it. I don't like to admit it, but I need this. It's just for me. For my serenity, yet it isn't arriving quickly enough. I simply want the pain to go away, but I know it will take some time. I know that talking to friends and family members helps, and I'm trying to discover the new me and new activities. I can't stand being alone with my thoughts, therefore I have to keep myself occupied. I didn't think I'd be able to make it here. I never thought I'd be able to write this, but like so many others, the wisdom and vulnerable and terrible experiences you've all shared have helped me get here. I want to need to keep going to counseling. It is quite beneficial. Thank you very much. Any advice is appreciated. Edit, to be clear, we are divorcing and are simply contacting to divide our assets. I know I won't be able to go back in time and be happy. My final few lines are a tug of war between my intellect and emotions. I left because my intellect told me to, but my heart longs to return.